let's go over the new moon chart together. We know that Taurus is a fixed earth sign, and that means in some sense that Taurus represents beauty because Taurus is ruled by Venus. It represents sensuality and easygoing nature. All the earth signs, they're kind of slow in pace in a way. So if you're a fire person, to me it doesn't matter whether or not you're Leo, you're a Capricorn, you're a Virgo. We could all incorporate the other signs. For me personally, it's like if I'm having issues with, I did another video, if you wanted to manifest some money, then this is the new moon that you should work on manifesting with. Plus, I believe Venus is already in Taurus, so it's a good time to manifest money. But Taurus and the earth sign symbolizes all those things. If you're looking, especially if you're looking into self-care, look at your Venus sign. If you want to incorporate some self-care activities, you can look at Taurus. It doesn't matter which sign you are. So in this case of opposites, Taurus is opposite Scorpio, which is water. But each of the signs, like, you could incorporate in yourself if it's something that you think is missing. Taurus is also a feminine sign, even though it's represented by a bull. So if you know that you're missing, a lot of your feminine energy, like, some of us women, I would say that I'm a very masculine woman, even though I might not come off as that, do I? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think I come off as masculine, but I'm very fire. So I could be very aggressive. I can. So for me, it was like incorporating a lot of earth, Venus, Venusian elements. Not so much. I usually attract a lot of Libras, which I always thought was very weird. But when I wanted to incorporate Venusian energy, I incorporated more of the Taurus Venusian energy. So we could all incorporate those energies inside of for our well-being, but also for our psychology. So I'm going to go over the chart, and we're kind of going over like symbolism, but take it as like, if you need to incorporate some of these Taurus type energy inside of yourself, just take it as like a message or like, a symbol, like what you need, or how you need to incorporate these things if you find that you're missing these type of things in your personality or your psychology. So this is the new moon chart, and as you can see, we have two stelliums here in fire, fixed earth, and then cardinal fire. So these are pretty good energies to work with. So you can see also the new moon is in the 4th house, which is mother, family. And we're going to start, as I usually do, with the opposition. So the last full moon, we had Scorpio opposite Taurus. And so with the moon phases, you're going to see that there's a pattern. The new moon is always going to be in the sign that the sun is in. And then the full moon is going to be in the opposite sign of the sun. So it's one of the patterns that you'll see with the moon cycles. Let's focus a little bit on Taurus. So Taurus is a earth feminine sign. It represents sensuality, physical beauty, easygoing. So Taurus is, so even if you're a Taurus, because I'm a fire person, and sometimes it's kind of hard to even understand my fire self, or sometimes we could abhor ourselves or not like certain characteristics of ourselves, depending on how we grow up, etc., etc. So I can't speak for everyone, but sometimes we don't like certain characteristics of ourselves depending on a lot of things. But so if you're a Taurus and you have a Taurus moon, it could possibly mean, or sometimes we work too hard, so sometimes we could come back to who we truly are, or to get in touch with who we truly are. So the Taurus moon pretty much symbolizes feminine organic energy, and with this new moon, it means that the moon pretty much loosens up, because it's water. Think about it, you could even think about it like physically, like, okay, water and earth. So what does water do to earth? Water usually loosens earth. Water flows through earth. Think about some symbolism such as clay. Water could mold earth and turn it into clay, and you can mold different things from it. So this is what water and earth kind of symbolizing. So feminine organic energy, the moon is nurturing, loosens up Taurus's rigidity, because of course the moon energy is nurturing and caring. And sometimes Taurus can be very stubborn and stuck, so the moon loosens that up. So the emotion of the Taurus moon is usually steady, warm, giving, deeply sensitive towards others' needs. On the negative side, you can be emotionally attached, have emotional outbursts, can be hot-headed, willing to emotionally overpower others. So that's the positive and negative aspects of a Taurus new moon. So if you're a Taurus moon person, you see that you're emotionally attached, you have emotional outbursts, you're hot-headed, you like to emotionally overpower others. Then maybe sometimes we can look to our opposite side, maybe look towards our Scorpio side and try to find, where our emotions lie, what is kind of triggering those negative emotions. So if you're a Scorpio, which is opposite Taurus, the symbol, of course, again, is water and earth. Usually they're both fixed, Taurus and Scorpio, so fixed. So that means they're compatible, but they're opposites, which usually attract. So opposite usually attract. So the thing about this is that if you're a Scorpio, then you want to kind of incorporate some of Taurus energy. If you're Taurus, you want to incorporate some of the Scorpio energy. So the both of you can utilize each other's energy to, make yourself more whole. So with Scorpio Taurus type of energy, if you're a Taurus and you know a Scorpio type person, then usually you can compensate for each other's weakness with, with strength. With Taurus, it's steady. With Scorpio, you're usually emotional, so you're in touch with your emotions. You can mirror and fulfill each other's deep emotional longings. Taurus is calm and placid and a little bit dull. It can be livened up and enriched when exposed to Scorpio's intense and emotionally charged energy. So, like I said, you guys could benefit from each other. But, on just a personal level, it's the same thing. Like, if you're Scorpio, then you can incorporate some Taurus energy. If you're Taurus, you could incorporate some Scorpio energy. Scorpio's heightened emotions can rely on Taurus calm to calm them down or to diffuse intense energy. So if you're a Scorpio, then you need some earth to kind of get you back down to the ground, so that way you don't, fly off the handle with your emotions. So yes, as a Scorpio, you could contribute insights to the inner workings of people and systems, while Taurus can practically deal with physical reality of, our material or mundane world. Scorpio is likes to plan and guidance, while Taurus can check the reality and ensure the plans and visions are implemented practically with due caution. So that's the energy of these two. So whether or not you're even a Scorpio or Taurus, you can utilize the symbol sets which of each inside of your psyche. We all need emotions to liven up ourselves, to understand people. We also need earth to kind of be down to earth. So when you see those, people talk about spiritual psychosis, this is what they need. They need to come back down to earth. They have too much, more than likely, Aquarius air energy, and they need to come back down to your here. And as you can see, I'm going to discuss that in a few, but this is a square, so it means that people who are going through spiritual psychosis is usually on this level, and they need to kind of come back down to earth there. So you can see that the energy is a little bit hard to incorporate for someone who has a big air energy. So Taurus and Aries and Taurus and Gemini is semi-sextile. So that means the energy is felt, but it's not really a big problem. So I'm going to go over the Taurus Gemini energy first. Let's examine that. So we have fixed earth and mutable air. They're not really, like I said, this energy is felt, but it's not really overpowering. It's there. They're not enemies, but earth can smother air. Earth can trap and confine air. Air can disturb earth, blowing soil away and eroding rock. So air and earth, not the best compatibility, but they're not, big enemies in this case. But the wind can also shape earth, and earth through its contours can direct the wind's movement. So the common interaction is air lies on top of the ground. It's a coexisting energy. Each have their own domain, so they don't really interact. There's not energies that really interact much. Taurus and Gemini is like a good symbolism would be a butterfly resting on a rock. So the butterfly, has a good solid foundation to rest on. Taurus usually grounds Gemini. Gemini can be the fresh air for what becomes stale, earth. The key to this relationship is receiving the qualities in each other that they lacked. This is almost like opposites, or you would have to work the energy like opposites, look at each other like opposites, but it's kind of like on parallel levels. It's kind of like they're two separate worlds. So you're going to take some energy to incorporate each other. So, but you can kind of be complementary even though opposites. So Gemini and Taurus, not enemies, not essentially compatible, but if you incorporate each other's energies, then you can. And earth is a big deal to me. Like, we all need earth, especially air needs earth to kind of ground them. Air, the opposite of, so in this case, the opposite of Gemini is really Sagittarius, but the opposite of air is water. So usually an air person is in their head, and sometimes they need to come down and be somewhere in their emotions to kind of like get to, because a lot of air people, they're very detached. So sometimes they need to get into their emotions to understand how other people feel. But I think a lot of it, in order to get here, sometimes you might need to kind of come down to earth and realize that you yourself are human. You have a physical body. We're on a physical earth. So, even though you're in your head, you have thoughts, you need to come down to earth to kind of feel yourself, feel your sensuality, feel your body, get into your feelings, and then get into your own head. But air and earth usually is going to take, or Gemini and Taurus, usually going to take some type of energy, or usually there's a crisis, then you see a Gemini will incorporate the earth energies.